It's time to weave in these yarn tails. I have knotted them together in some cases, and where they're not knotted, I'm going to. To purists, this is a dreadful, terrible thing to do. But my thinking is that a scarf gets a good bit of wear and tear. And I have fixed many garments for people and made good money doing it because unknotted joins had backed out. So I'm a fan of doing discreet knots where there are joins in high-wear garments. Now I've used my crochet hook to weave in and out of stitches near my yarn tail, and now I will use it to draw the tail through. I don't have my snips handy with me, but you can see that the tail is now hidden, and I can snip this off. If you are concerned that it still may not be secure, you can pull it through the other way for a distance. And the trick to making this look nice is making sure that you don't let your yarn tail gather things up, that you pull things back to their original tension. And now it's quite discreet, and I can snip it off. I could also run the yarn tail not up the edge, but across the back of these stitches. Depending on what exact stitch you used, one may be better than the other. There we go. Now that can be snipped off invisibly. If you have one, a latch tool can be very handy. This is actually just a needle from a knitting machine. This one's a used needle, not in very good condition. It was removed from the machine because it was bent and dirty. But it'll do this job just fine. I'm going in and out of the edge stitches, leaving a little bit of slack in the yarn tail because it'll make it easier to pull through, and using the latch tool to pull it through. And that also works very well. And here's our tan yarn tail, and I think again I'll weave it in to the back of the garter stitch. So either of these tools works well. Another thing that works well is a regular old yarn needle. You just need to thread the end of the tail into the eye of the needle and work the needle in and out of the fabric. You're going to laugh at me. I have a yarn needle handy, but look. Ooh, it's huge. I was working on something with a pillow, and that's what this is really for. But it'll still work. I'll go in and out of these stitches. And with one this long, what I have to do is work it in and out ahead of threading it, because my yarn tail certainly won't reach all the way to the end of the eye. But I can get it in position, find the end of the yarn tail, and introduce it to the eye of the needle. I need to dampen it. It's an old seamstress trick. The fibers will stick together a little bit better if you dampen them. Old seamstresses use spit. If that's not too gross for you, it's very effective. There we go. Now it'll pull on through. And I can snip it off right there. Remember these? This is where I let my tan yarn tail run up the side while I did my garter stitch. We talked about this. Off camera, I'm going to get a piece of needle and thread, gray I think, and whip stitch to tie that down, so mainly so it doesn't snag on anything. It's really not unsightly. That's not the problem. But knowing my life, I would probably hang it up on something. So I'm going to secure it. So, let's all finish weaving in our yarn tails. If you didn't change colors, you may not even have very many. You would certainly have a beginning and an ending one. Once you've woven them all in and snip them off, come back and we'll all look at our scarves. And here is my finished scarf. I am quite pleased with it. I hope you're enjoying yours too.